All right, so I want to talk about this really fascinating experiment I came across. Someone asked a pretty wild question. What happens when you let AI completely take over your morning routine? And I don't mean just using one app. I mean everything, the whole shebang. Let's see how it all went down.
Wow. Okay, just let that sink in for a second. An experiment that was so successful, it made him cry. This isn't just about productivity hacks, is it? It's clearly about something way deeper. How can something work too well? That's the real mystery we're going to try and solve here.
So you might be wondering, why would anyone even do this? Why go to such an extreme? Well, it all started from a place I think many of us know all too well. That feeling of losing the day before it's even really begun. The classic broken morning routine. I mean, come on. Does any of this look familiar to you? It's that classic cycle of just reacting. You wake up and what's the first thing you do? Grab the phone. Yep. Then you're scrolling for what? 20 minutes? You make a few half-hearted decisions, and by the time you actually get to your desk to do real work, you already feel like you're behind. It's the definition of starting the day on the back foot. And that broken routine is what sparked this whole radical idea. Forget another self-help book. Forget another to-do list app. What if the real solution was to just remove the human element? You know, the indecisive, procrastinating, flawed part of our brain. What if you just outsourced every single one of those little morning decisions to an AI? Now, this wasn't as simple as just downloading an app from the App Store. Oh no. To really pull this off, he had to build a whole custom interconnected system. You can think of it like a personalized AI stack designed for one thing and one thing only, to run his morning. Okay, so let's pop the hood and see how this thing actually worked. It's pretty clever, really. It all kicks off with the alarm, which triggers a daily briefing, like having your own personal chief of staff. Then it moves into journaling, but with AI-generated prompts tailored to his actual goals. Next up, the workout engine uses real data from his sleep and energy levels to decide the exercise for the day. And finally, the breakfast bot, which was supposed to solve that eternal question of, what do I eat? A completely automated end-to-end morning. So, the system is built. The experiment is officially running. And this is where things get really, really interesting. Because some of this stuff didn't just work a little bit, it worked shockingly well. The first massive win? That daily briefing. It completely flipped the script. See, instead of starting the day by reacting to a flood of notifications and news, the very first input was a calm, clear plan of his own priorities. And the result was huge. A totally measurable jump in focus during those critical first hours of work. And there was this other kind of hidden benefit. You know all those tiny little decisions we have to make? Should I run or lift weights? What should I have for breakfast? They seem so small, but they add up. They drain your mental battery. By offloading all of that to the AI, it was like freeing up mental RAM. All that energy could be saved for the big decisions that actually mattered later in the day. And then there's this. This is the journal prompt. The one that led to the tears on day 12. This wasn't some generic motivational quote. The AI cooked this up specifically based on the context it had about burnout. And man, it just hit a nerve. It showed that this system wasn't just a scheduler. It was a mirror that could ask some deeply uncomfortable and deeply accurate questions. But of course, it wasn't all profound insights and perfect productivity. I think you can probably guess what's coming, right? A system this perfect, this rigid, was bound to smash right into the wall of messy, unpredictable real life. And soon enough, the cracks started to show. And here's the crazy irony. The whole point of this was to be more present and intentional, right? Well, it actually started doing the opposite. That beautiful morning ritual just turned into a chore, a data entry job. It became all about feeding the machine, not about actually reflecting or being present. The process had become more important than the purpose.
This all really came to a head on day 18. Picture this. You wake up, you feel fantastic, full of energy, your body is just screaming to go for a run. But the AI, looking at your sleep data, says, nope, rest day. Your metrics are low. And in this experiment, the AI won. And that's kind of a scary moment, isn't it? When you start outsourcing your own gut feelings to a machine.
Oh, and we have to talk about the breakfast spot, my personal favorite. This thing was a complete, hilarious disaster. A great idea in theory, but in reality, it just could not handle a normal person's fridge. You know, some leftover Thai food, a couple of eggs, that weird jar of something in the back. The AI suggestion was so out of touch, it was comical. It's just a perfect reminder that even the smartest systems get totally baffled by the glorious chaos of real life.
So, after 30 days of these amazing successes and some pretty frustrating failures, what's the bottom line? What did we actually learn from all this? Well, this right here is where we get the most valuable takeaways.
So here it is, the final scorecard. You can see pretty clearly what made the cut and what got tossed. The daily briefing? Kept. The AI journal prompts? Kept. Even the workout decision engine with some changes. But the breakfast bot? Oh yeah, that thing got kicked to the curb. It was just way too rigid for the real world.
But here's the really crucial part. Even the tools that worked didn't stay the same. They were all simplified. The long briefing got cut down to a quick 90-second hit. The journaling went from a daily chore to 3 intentional sessions a week, focusing on quality, not quantity. And the workout engine's data became a suggestion, not a command. A huge, huge difference.
And that really gets to the absolute heart of this whole experiment. It turns out the AI's true power wasn't in telling you what to do. It wasn't a replacement for human intuition. It was a mirror. Its job was to reflect your own patterns, your own goals, and yeah, even your own excuses right back at you in a way you couldn't ignore. So in the end, you're left with this beautiful paradox, right? The whole experiment started with the goal of becoming more automated, more machine-like. But what it actually achieved was the exact opposite. By trying to become a machine, he accidentally learned how to become more human, how to live with more intention. And that leaves me with one last question for you. Think about your own morning routine, all the chaotic parts, all the little decisions, all the points of friction. If you could hand just one piece of it over to a system like this, what would you choose? It's a pretty fascinating thought to end on.